Stoicism, a philosophy of ancient Greece, resonates today for its relevance in a chaotic and uncertain world. The philosophical school teaches the importance of maintaining serenity in the face of adversity, acting in accordance with reason, and accepting what we cannot control. Keeping quiet in the context of Stoicism can be interpreted as a practice of self-control and wisdom. It is about knowing when to speak and when it is more prudent to remain silent, recognizing that not all situations require our verbal intervention. There are multiple benefits to silence. Do you know which ones? Well, starting with that encourages improved concentration. In other words, silence creates an environment conducive to attention and concentration, allowing you to perform tasks more effectively. It also promotes inner calm, promotes a sense of peace, tranquility, and mental clarity. And he cultivates patience and mindfulness, allowing him to face challenges with a greater sense of composure. But this is not today's topic. In fact, on the channel there is a video that talks about the benefit of silence. I highly recommend you watch it as a complement to this intervention. Not bad. The Stoics valued inner reflection and tranquility of the soul, and believed that silence could be a powerful response to external chaos. By refraining from speaking unnecessarily, introspection is promoted, and unnecessary disturbance of the mind and environment is avoided. This practice is not only a way of preserving inner peace, but also of exercising the virtue of discretion, so esteemed in Stoic philosophy. Ultimately, Stoic silence is a path to ataraxia, the state of imperturbability that the Stoics considered essential to a good and fulfilling life. There are times when you have to keep quiet no matter what. These moments are non-negotiable if you want to become a good Stoic character. Although I ask you not to do it just to follow a philosophy of life, but to grow mentally. I ask you to follow these tips so that you become a person who faces their problems with resilience. Don't do it because you've already jumped on the boat of this philosophy, but because you want to become a better person. Okay, it's time to start. But first I want to invite you to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell to be informed when I upload more videos like this. Okay, now without further delay, let's get started. Situation number 1 in which you should keep quiet. When it comes to gossip. Rumors and gossip, phenomena beyond our control, are seen by the Stoics as distractions that can disturb our inner peace and divert us from the pursuit of virtue. According to this philosophy, by keeping quiet in the face of rumors, we exercise the discipline of self-control and preserve our serenity, thus avoiding falling into the trap of negative emotions that such situations can generate. The Stoic response to gossip is a manifestation of strength and an affirmation that our worth does not depend on the opinion of others, but on our own ability to live according to reason and nature. Responding to rumors or gossip only gives them more attention and makes them more likely to persist. By staying calm and not reacting, you avoid fueling the fire and reduce the likelihood of rumors intensifying. Yes, saying things that don't really represent you can make us angry, very angry I would say, but responding to gossip with anger or frustration just shows that it affects you. By staying calm and collected, you show that you have control over your emotions and that you are not disturbed by gossip. Moreover, he who owes nothing fears nothing. Responding to rumors or gossip can make the situation worse and damage your reputation. By staying quiet, you avoid saying anything you might regret and maintain your dignity. If the rumors are false, the truth will eventually come out. You don't need to defend yourself if you know the truth is on your side. By staying calm and focused on your goals, you avoid wasting time and energy on trivia. Stoicism considers calmness and composure to be important virtues. Keeping quiet from rumors is one way to practice these virtues and strengthen your character. It's important to remember that staying quiet doesn't mean you have to accept rumors or gossip as true. If you believe your reputation is being unfairly damaged, you can take steps to defend yourself, but do so in a calm and rational manner. In short, Stoicism recommends keeping quiet from rumors or gossip because it's the best way to protect yourself, maintain your reputation, and promote peace and harmony. Situation number 2 in which you should keep quiet. When it comes to insults. Stoicism can be a powerful strategy for preserving peace of mind and personal dignity. This practice is based on the idea that our reaction to offenses is within our control, even if the actions of others are not. As Epictetus, a prominent Stoic philosopher, said, It is not facts that disturb people, but their judgments about facts. This suggests that we can choose not to allow negative comments to affect us emotionally. In addition, responding to insults with silence can disarm the aggressor and prevent the escalation of the situation. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, another prominent Stoic, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." Keeping quiet also reflects an understanding that hurtful words often arise from the ignorance or pain of the other and do not necessarily reflect the truth about ourselves. Seneca, for his part, advised, "He who decides a case without listening to the other party, even if he decides justly, has not been just." In practice, keeping quiet requires self-discipline and a deep understanding of Stoic principles. It's about recognizing that we can only control our own actions and responses, and that serenity comes from focusing on this rather than the actions of others. Modern psychology supports this view, particularly in cognitive behavioral therapy, which teaches people to identify and change thought patterns that can lead to negative emotional responses. To apply these principles in real situations, you can start by taking a deep breath when faced with an insult, remembering that the power of the situation lies in how you choose to respond. It's helpful to remember quotes like Epictetus, "If someone speaks badly to you, don't worry. The opinions of others cannot harm you." With time and practice, staying quiet in the face of insults can become a natural response that promotes inner peace and emotional resilience. Responding to an insult with anger or frustration only makes the situation worse and makes you feel worse. In addition, it will only escalate the situation and may lead to a fight or escalation of violence. What do you need to prove? Calm, therefore, will make you look like a mature person and that you have control over your emotions. Remember that the insult does not define who you are. Insult is just one person's opinion of you. It doesn't define your value as a person, so don't take the insult personally. Situation number 3 in which you must keep quiet when dealing with anger. Do not be carried away by anger, for anger leads to crime. Marcus Aurelius. Staying calm and quiet during times of anger can be beneficial for mental health and interpersonal relationships. Anger, an intense and often negative emotion, can elicit impulsive and harmful responses. Remember that the foundation where the foundations of Stoicism were built is self-control and logic over emotions. By this I mean that to act under the influence of anger is to give up reason and allow an emotion to disturb our inner peace and judgment. Seneca described anger as a brief madness and warned of its destructive effects. In psychology, it is recognized that anger can cloud our judgment and lead to behaviors that we later regret. Therefore, it is recommended to take a moment to take a deep breath, count to 10, or seek a distraction to allow the mind to calm down and be able to respond more reflectively. To apply these principles in everyday life, it's helpful to identify which situations trigger anger and consciously work to change our perspective on them. This may involve questioning whether the object of our anger is within our control, and if it isn't, practicing acceptance. In addition, developing empathy and compassion can help us better understand others and reduce the likelihood of feeling anger toward them. With calm and reason as guides, we can turn anger into a force for good, a tool to build a better world for ourselves and others. Situation number 4, in which you must keep quiet, when it is unfairly criticized. Imagine that someone has just criticized you unfairly. Your initial reaction might be to dispute it to set the record straight. But here's a Stoic twist. Ask yourself if this criticism is true or doesn't define who you are. Remember that your worth and self-esteem do not depend on the opinions or judgments of others. Stoicism teaches you that your core identity and integrity remain intact, regardless of external evaluation. Then, consider the source of the criticism. Stoicism urges us to reflect on the critic's intentions and perspectives. Often, unfair criticism has more to do with the critic's perceptions, insecurities, or own internal struggles than it does with you. By understanding this, you can see criticism for what it really is, a reflection of the critic, not of you. Analyze it objectively. Is there anything valuable you can learn? Anything you can improve? According to the Stoics, reacting to unfair criticism can disturb our inner peace and lead us to a state of agitation that is contrary to eudaimonia, or well-being of the soul. For example, Marcus Aurelius advises, when someone does you wrong, you can decide to do nothing, say nothing, and feel no resentment. This quote reflects the idea that the response to injustice does not always require external action, but that sometimes strength and dignity reside in stillness and inner reflection. To practice this abstention from verbal response, Stoic psychology proposes exercises of self-control and reflection. One could, for example, take a moment to consider the possible reasons behind the other person's criticism, which can lead to a deeper understanding of their perspective and possibly a more peaceful resolution of the conflict. In addition, cognitive behavioral psychology, influenced by Stoicism, suggests techniques such as cognitive restructuring to change the way we interpret negative events, thus reducing emotional reactivity and promoting a more measured and considered response. Daniel Goleman said, "Emotional intelligence is the ability to identify, understand, and manage our own emotions, as well as those of others. Staying calm in the face of unfair criticism because it is the best way to protect yourself, maintain your self-esteem, and promote peace and harmony. You remember what I told you when I talked to you about staying calm and not fanning the flames when someone insults you? Apply those principles when someone criticizes you unfairly." Situation number 5 in which you must keep quiet, when dealing with loss. Does it hurt? I'm really sorry. A loss is never easy. You are a warrior today because you are fighting with this great battle known as dueling. However, this practice is based on the notion that silence allows for deep introspection and prevents the impulsive expression of emotions that might not reflect our true feelings or that could cause more harm. As Stoic philosophy points out, we should not base our happiness on the results of our actions, but on our own agency and conduct in the face of life's events. Loss is an inescapable component of human life, whether it's the loss of a loved one, a relationship, a job, or even an aspect of our identity. It's a stark reality and can be extremely painful. However, in the midst of our suffering, Stoicism stands as a beacon of hope and resilience. In psychology, especially in cognitive behavioral therapy, it is recognized that managing emotions through reflection and pausing before speaking can lead to a better understanding and management of our emotional reactions. Acknowledge the pain that accompanies loss, but don't push yourself to suppress it. Stoicism reminds us that while we have no control over what we lose, we do have control over how we react to that loss. Imagine that you have suffered a significant loss and feel that the world is falling apart around you. This is where Stoicism encourages you to stop and take a deep breath, giving you permission to feel your emotions and cry. Remember that your emotions are natural responses and not commands. You may feel sadness, anger, or confusion without allowing these feelings to dictate your actions or define your future. Look at loss as an opportunity for growth. Every loss, no matter how devastating, contains the seeds of new beginnings, new strengths, and new wisdom. Ask yourself what this loss can teach you, how it can contribute to your growth. It's not about finding immediate answers or forced positives, but about being open to the possibility that, even in loss, there are lessons that can enrich your life. Situation number 6 in which you must keep quiet. When someone talks to you about their problems. Sometimes people just want someone to focus on their problems to help them feel better. They may not be in a position to simply accept advice in the moment and just want someone to focus. Think about it. When you want to talk about your problems, do you expect someone to scold you or criticize your actions? Don't try to solve their problems. Sometimes we just have to listen, since not everyone wants their problems solved. If you don't know if someone wants you to help them solve their problems or just listen to them, I suggest you ask them before the conversation begins. Asking them before it starts helps clear up misunderstandings and allows you to help that person as best you can. This is a good time to be silent because you can help others with your silence. Psychology appreciates silence as a therapeutic tool that facilitates the expression of the other without interruptions, which can be crucial to the emotional healing process. Keeping quiet does not imply a lack of participation, but a conscious and respectful presence. To achieve this, it is recommended to practice mindfulness and active listening, techniques that help to focus on the present moment and the person speaking, without judging or interrupting. The wise man hears the meaning, the fool only receives the noise. Nassim Nicholas Taleb. Knowing when to speak and when to be silent is an art, Pay attention to the signals the person gives you. If they are receptive to your advice, you can offer your help. But if she just needs to be heard, your silence will be the best way to support her. Situation number 7 in which you must keep quiet: when someone demonstrates their ignorance. Do you know the Dunning-Kruger effect? Various studies carried out by psychologists have revealed a human tendency to perceive ourselves as more capable than we really are in certain social and intellectual areas, a phenomenon that will be detailed later. In essence, we tend to inflate our own capacities and skills. According to the researchers, this tendency to overvalue is largely due to the fact that those individuals with limited abilities face a complex dilemma. Not only are they prone to making wrong judgments and ill-advised decisions, but their lack of competence prevents them from recognizing their own errors of judgment and action. This lack of metacognitive self-awareness prevents them from recognizing their own incompetence. We will see many people who will talk about topics that we, because of how much dedication to the study of the same, master. This will make us feel uncomfortable and eager to correct their ignorance. But think about this. Does a person who has the toupee to speak confidently about topics he does not master really expect someone to correct him? Will you be the one to try it? Will you be the one who dedicates your strength to change the mind of someone who did not have the decency to inform himself better before speaking in public, whose subject he does not master or does not know? Keeping quiet in the face of the ignorance of others can be a way to avoid unnecessary conflicts and preserve inner peace. Seneca advised, we should take walks in the open air so that the mind can be nourished and refreshed by the open air and deep breathing, which implies a focus on self-care and personal reflection rather than confronting every display of ignorance we encounter. To apply these teachings in everyday life, one can begin by recognizing that each person has their own learning path and that patience is a virtue when facing ignorance. Also, it's helpful to remember that silence can be a powerful response and that you don't always need to have the last word. The practice of reflection and introspection, recommended by the Stoics, can also help us better understand our own reactions and develop greater empathy for others, even when their perspectives differ from ours. Situation number 8 in which you must keep quiet. At the time of negotiations, the strategic use of silence can instill an air of enigma and authority, as it can lead the other party to think that one is willing to retreat rather than accept something less than the expected outcome. Silence is often uncomfortable for many, and its application in negotiations can be an effective method of reaffirming our expectations. Express yourself clearly, and then be silent. This act shows confidence in your words and respect for the interlocutor, giving them space to express themselves. In addition, silence gives the other party the opportunity to reflect and possibly make mistakes in their argumentation. By remaining silent, we make it easier for the other side to reveal more than benefits our position. To apply this strategy, it is important to be mentally prepared to resist the pressure to speak. You can start with a friendly greeting and questions that generate affinity, and then give the floor to the interlocutor. After presenting a condition or receiving a counteroffer, it is essential to pause and allow silence to play in your favor, thus avoiding unnecessary concessions or the perception of insecurity. Moments of silence can be tactical, benefiting both personally and those around us. And the last situation in which you should keep quiet is when you don't have something good to say. Just because you feel compelled to include something doesn't mean you should. Instead, you might agree with what someone else has said. It can be hard to say you don't have anything to add. Allow yourself to admit when you have nothing to say instead of talking for the sake of talking and making everything worse. Keeping quiet allows for deeper reflection and avoids rushing into judgments or actions that might not be beneficial. Silence is more than just the absence of sound. It is a form of communication, a tool of influence, a symbol of strength and wisdom. As Lao Tzu once said, silence is a source of great strength. In our noisy world, the power of silence is often overlooked. From fostering better relationships to aiding personal growth, the strategic use of silence can truly be a game changer. For more tips like this, you know what to do. If someone else shares your taste for Stoicism, invite them to walk the canal. Well, that's all for today. Until next time.